were you able to get to North Carolina and back? I guess obviously you got back, or just how was your Christmas and travel and all that?
It was good for sure. Left early Thursday morning. Got to spend the whole day Thursday, whole day Friday. Left 5 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday. Got back around 9, so it was good. Good to
Okay,
see my
good.
family.
And what was Christmas? Did you pick up a ball while you were there and do anything? And what was practice like yesterday? Was everybody kind of rusty, and did you have to run off some turkey or ham or whatever everybody had? Or
No, back when I was home, I was in the gym. Didn't do anything Thursday, but I was in the gym Friday and Saturday before I left. And no, practice was actually, I mean, coach was on us the first couple of minutes, but he actually told us last night that it was actually a good practice. Other than the first couple of minutes, we were locked in at LSU, conference play starting, so we had to be locked in. We had no choice. So
you
yeah,
guys,
it was a good practice.
I'm sorry, I mean to step on you there.
Yeah.
You know, LSU, they're not one of the ranked teams, but it's conference play, and that's a pretty tough place to play usually. Just what are your thoughts on open conference play? How ready do you think you guys are for SEC play now?
I think we're ready, but obviously tomorrow will be a good test for us. I mean, they're not ranked, like as you say, but they have the same record as us, if I'm pretty sure.
Right.
You know, no game's gonna be a sleeper now. No more of the mid majors. We're all playing high major teams, SEC teams, so we got to be ready every night. Don't matter who it is.
And obviously, Nick didn't get to play, and his situation's probably fluid. I'm guessing. You obviously don't have Trevin. Just how's the team adjusted? And if Nick can't play, how do you think you guys will handle that?
I mean, we played our first couple games without him. When he's ready, he'll be back. That's all I can really say on that. I don't know when he's gonna be back. He might be back tomorrow. He might be back next week. I really don't know. Yeah. So we'll be fine. We'll be fine. We'll adjust.
Well, yeah, you're pretty good. Anthony's pretty good. Jordan's pretty good. Makai's. I mean, there's a lot of good players still. I mean, how do you feel about the team? Obviously, you want Nick back as soon as you can get him. But how do you feel about the team if you have to play without him for a while again?
I mean, like I said earlier, like we did it the first couple games. I mean, we came up short against Creighton, but other than that, we did it without him. He's a really good player and added to our team in a majority of ways. But we just got to adjust. People got to step up, and I think we'll be ready though.
Okay, thanks. I might get a couple more, but I'll turn it back to Mike. Thank you,
Curtis.
Hey, Ricky, I'm just curious, what's the excitement level like for you, on a personal level? I'm sure part of the reason for your transfer was to play, in a high major conference like the SEC. So how do you feel about going into that?
Most definitely really excited. Like you said, this is why I'm here, play at a higher level, play in a bigger conference. Always been my dream. So just got to mentally prepare myself. I feel like I'm physically ready, just got to lock in Wednesday night when the ball gets thrown up.
And then, I mean, you guys are kind of like world travelers with everywhere you've been so far, but I guess it hits a little bit different going on the road for your first conference game. How much does some of that travel you guys have already done help you? And then what changes as you get into league play, just in terms of, the intensity, the grind on a night-to-night basis?
I mean, me personally, like throughout my career, I always like playing on the road. I love playing at home, but I always love playing on the road, playing against different people. I mean, playing in front of different people, But I think we'll be ready. I mean, we've been to Spain, we've been Oklahoma, Little Rock, so we've played away before, even though it seemed like we was playing home games through all those games. But I'm sure our fans are gonna come through. I know some of my family's coming through, so it'll be good for us.
And last thing for me, I don't know if you guys have even started talking about LSU yet, but if you have, what have your impressions been of them so far?
Yes, we started yesterday. I mean, they're a good team. They're not ranked, but they're 11-1, just like us. They have a couple of key players we got to dial in on and got to make it tough for them. Have a tough night. I know they have one of the top scorers in the league on their team. He's a really good player. Have a couple of key players surrounding him, so we just got to make it hard for him. And it's gonna be a tough night, but I think we'll be fine.
Hutch.
Well, these guys have covered most of it, but I'm curious how you would assess, your season to this point, and what areas you would like to maybe improve on as you enter SEC play.
I feel real confident about our team. 11-1, that's definitely the best start I've had in my young career so far. So I'm really excited for that. Wish it could have been 12-0, but can't go back on that now. We could still go undefeated in conference play if that's everybody's mindset. But I think wait, what was your second question? My bad.
Where would you think, where could you improve your game now as you enter SEC play? What areas are you wanting to improve?
Simply put, just get more consistent on my 3-point shot. I feel like lately it's been maybe on an uptrend, but I gotta continue to get consistent with that, and then just locking in on defense even more. Not getting back cut, not keeping my man in coverage, things like that.
Bob?
Ricky, last two games, I think I got this right, although I'm lousy at math, but I think you guys outscored your opponents last two opponents 69-14 on points off turnovers, which I don't care who you're playing. That's kind of a crazy stat. And I know LSU's obviously, stepping up in class from North Carolina, Asheville, and even Bradley is pretty decent. But what do you think about that stat? And really the whole season you guys have turned people over and, had a big advantage in points off turnovers. What do you thought about that?
I mean, we're all long, we're all athletic. We've just done a great job using our length, and then when we get steals, converting on it. So I know that's going to be, like you said, we've been playing a little smaller teams, but if we continue that same defensive activity and lock in, I feel like we can, not as big of a number, but a good, decent number in conference play against better teams.
Yeah. And then you said you'd looked at LSU a little bit. They got a kid from Little Rock, Justice Hill. He actually signed with Arkansas, but ended up going to a JUCO. And I don't know his number, but he's their point guard, kid from Murray State. Do you have any thoughts on Justice, his play?
I know he's leading the league in the assist to turnover ratio, so I know he's a steady point guard who's going to keep the team in check. So I didn't know the fact about Arkansas. I mean, maybe Muss knew. He just didn't bring it up. But yeah, he's a good player.
And speaking of Eric, of course you weren't here, but Eric missed the game at Baton Rouge last year because he just had surgery for his shoulder, and then the rest of the way he had his shoulder in a sling. I think was still a lot.
I actually watched that game. Yeah, I remember because Coach Smart was coaching, right?
Yeah, and that's Keith's hometown, so that was kind of cool. He went back to Baton Rouge one. Yeah, but just wondering what you think about Eric, not being at a game, and how good is it to have him in how good will it be to have him in Baton Rouge this time around?
I mean, shoot. I don't know no other way. He's the only coach that's been coaching me this year, so I'm glad he'll be back. I know Trey knocked him up last year, but I'm glad he's back. A little homecoming for him.
Yeah, nothing like having a 6'6", 200. I say you couldn't have Chris Likes fall on him. It was like 5'7" pounds. He had to have a big Trey fall on him. But and then I looked up. Of course, you know what it's like to be a transfer, but I think I got this right. Every LSU starter is a transfer, which I don't know. Maybe that's more common now than
that is right.
It just as a transfer yourself, what do you have any thoughts on that? That their entire lineup is transfers, starting lineup anyway.
Yeah, that's for them to be 11-1. That's pretty impressive. I know all 5 guys coming in, and 2 of them from Murray State, 1 from NC State, and 1 from Illinois. All different levels. So for them to be 11-1, that's pretty impressive. Coach must know what he's doing a little bit, So we just got to lock in. I know they're an older team, all have experience from different levels. So I know even Murray State was pretty good last year, made it to the tournament, if I'm not mistaken. So I know they got experience, and we're a little young, but, I think we'll figure it out. We just follow Coach Musk's game plan.
Let's go one. You brought up Justice having his top assist to turnover ratio. Yeah, I think he's got 50 assists and 19 turnovers. That's pretty good. But you guys, like you say, have turned people over. But how big a challenge is it to try to turn over a team at a high rate that's got a point guard with those kind of numbers? Of course, Sherfield had about a 2-1, and you guys turned him over, I think 4 times.
Yeah, Coach definitely pointed that out yesterday, that we need to speed him up and cause havoc when he has the ball in his hands. So that should be a challenge, but I think we're up for it. Like you said, we're known for changing the top players' usual stats. So I think that'd be big for us if we could do that. That'll change their mindsets a little bit.